Thank you, Lascan Corlin. First of all, can I thank Deputy Shanahan and the Regional Independents for bringing forward this really important bill. I am more than happy to support it. This bill, I think, above all else, will provide an enhanced and hugely necessary level of transparency to ensure that the details of capital spending by each government department will be prepared and laid before the Houses of the Oireachtas 5 years or 4 years after the financial year is concerned. And those details will include the amount of each capital supply service and public allocation expended by or on behalf of a relevant department and the local government administrative area or areas in which each asset is located. In simple language, this bill will allow us to follow the money. And that level of transparency in capital spending is so badly needed, particularly when it comes to spending in the regions. Up to now, we've largely had to rely on the excellent research of the Northern and Western Regional Assembly to highlight the imbalance in spending between the regions in Ireland. I commend their competence and dedication. But if this bill were to become legislation, that information would be laid before the Dáil and Seanad, and crucially, individual members and ministers and departments could be called to account for their spending or non-spending from many different perspectives, but crucially from a regional perspective. That level of transparency is a necessary prelude to fairness, and while it won't guarantee fairness, it will make individual ministers and government departments much more accountable for their spending decisions. Personally, I wish this level of transparency existed right now. I wish it had been in place 10, 20, 30 years ago, because it could have made such a difference in helping to ensure a fair share of spending to all regions, and in particular for the Northern and Western region. I mean, time and time again, I've quoted the damning statistics around economic indicators and spending in the Northern and Western region. But time and time again, I'm just simply ignored in this House. I mean, I have quoted the fact that we are a lagging region. The European Commission has downgraded the region to a lagging region. I have quoted the fact that we don't have our fair share of high-end jobs. I've quoted the fact that when it comes to third-level spending for capital projects, we are way, way below the national average from 2012 to 2022. But I'm blue in the face quoting it. But if we had this legislation, if this legislation was passed, it would ensure no hiding place for the continuation of unfair and inequitable levels of spending in the region. And crucially, it would track spending in all regions, because at the end of the day, that is what balanced regional development is about. I will advocate for the Northern and Western region. Other deputies will advocate for their regions. Nobody is looking for more than their fair share. But when regions don't get it, and they consistently don't get it, and economic gaps open up because of that, then a piece of legislation like this would make individual ministers and governments accountable for that. So that's why I really welcome this piece of legislation. I believe the government isn't challenging it, and I hope it will be passed as speedily as possible. You know what they say, better late than never.